There will be spoilers ahead, so sit back and relax. The film begins in Syria, where terrorists plan to kill American hostages. A seaside, Miller orders a sniper team into firing positions in order to eliminate the terrorist. The terrorists want to document the hostage-taking as a form of retaliation against the Americans. The team is waiting for orders from their commander, Miller, before taking action. Surprisingly, one of the terrorists is a child, and they command him to kill one of the hostages. When Miller tells Beckett to shoot, he hesitates. So Miller instructs Barnes to shoot with no time to spare. However, Barnes misses, and the terrorists are alarmed and kill one captive. The sniper team and combat helicopter then eliminated all terrorists fleeing the coast. Despite the fact that their goal of assassinating the terrorist is accomplished, one hostage is killed. Miller calls Beckett to inquire about the incident. Beckett swears he will do better next time. The following time, Cervantes and Rojas later gathered to celebrate their success in Istanbul, Turkey. Beckett and Angst were on a pier. While celebrating, Angst brings up their last mission, which makes Beckett uncomfortable. And she blames him for his paralysis. Beckett walks away from them to drink his beer alone. Cervantes soothes him and encourages him to unwind. Beckett thanks him and tells him he needs some alone time. A woman looks at Beckett and walks away after Cervantes leaves him alone. Beckett follows the woman to the end of the pier, flirts with her, and starts talking about their relationship. Istanbul business. The suspicious man approaches the abandoned building's rooftop from a distance and pulls out a gun. Beckett is the target of a sniper rifle. Fortunately, Beckett's major, Bidwell, shoots the sniper. He calls Beckett right away and requests that they meet. Beckett is talking to Bidwell when the woman walks away without him noticing. Later, Beckett and Bidwell meet and warn him that the sniper is about to murder him. To be cautious next time, Miller informs him of the Syrian operation, and Beckett admits to Bidwell that he hesitated. Because one of the terrorists is a minor. According to Bidwell, having a conscience is not a bad thing, but it should not cloud his judgment. Following that, the team meets with the colonel to discuss their next mission, securing a gas pipeline. Terrorists are on the loose in Georgia. Beckett sees the woman he met on the pier again. Slater introduces herself and takes command of the operation. Their mission is to eliminate enemy snipers, and Slater will provide drone support. The following day, the team arrives at the pumping station in Georgia, and Slater describes the situation. Procedure in detail. They must defend Killian Brunn, an oil tycoon, as he arrives at the station for 2 days. Hours later, the terrorist leader, Gazakov, leads the terrorists in their assault on Killian. The team begins the operation by taking their assigned positions outside the station. When Angst notices a flash of light in the distance, he alerts the team, but it is too late. One of Killian's bodyguards' cars is shot by the terrorist anti-tank sniper, and the rest follow. One of the bodyguards shoots the terrorists. During the skirmish, a sharpshooter spots Rojas and Angst. The sniper kills Rojas, but the others are unable to see him, so Slater uses her drones to provide cover. Guidance from above. Someone is pointing the enemy sniper in the right direction. Maines is shot by the opposing sniper, and the terrorist defeats Killian's bodyguard. The colonel in command detects the terrorist on the radar and orders missiles to be launched in his direction. Terrorists launch an attack. Killian's men defend him, and Angst and Beckett attempt to help Rojas with her neck wound. She dies of blood loss. Miller, Slater, and their men scouted the area where the terrorists were hiding after the conflict. Used the anti-tank sniper to disperse Gazakov's brother-in-law. Beckett, in disbelief, accuses Colonel Sergei of possibly providing the terrorists with weapons. Their information. Beckett suspects an ambush because there have been no deaths among Sergei's forces. Colonel Sergei dispatches Beckett to a Highland station, escorted by Sajid and a bodyguard. Beckett is about to join a team that is protecting a pipeline. They arrive at the station house and are greeted by Russian men. They only fight Beckett when he arrives at the station. Andrei, the commander, is impressed by his abilities and orders them to stop fighting. Outside, Andrei gathers everyone and explains how Beckett ended up on his team. Beckett is disciplined for disobedience, and he explains that someone in Georgia is to blame. A traitor passing information to terrorists in secret. He lost his friends, but no Georgian soldiers were killed. Andrei suggests that Beckett look for more evidence of the traitor before convicting him. Georgians are people from Georgia. He must also track down the man who murdered his friends and force him to confess. They arrived at their positions. Following that, Andrei and his team monitor a listening station and discover that Chechens are broadcasting. The station is being robbed by thieves. Andrei intends to kill all of the thieves who arrive at the facility. Beckett, on the other hand, believes they should instead subdue them. Andrei then instructs Beckett on how to do it. Andrei prepares to attack while the others rally behind him. Beckett attempts to bargain with the robbers, but they make suspicious movements. As a result, Andrei shoots one of them, killing all but one for interrogation. Later that evening, Andrei and Beckett discuss their past. He tells Beckett that he has been in Beckett's situation before, as a child pulled into the system. Combat. He hesitates and ignores it, but the child conceals an explosive and murders his fellow soldiers. Andre advises Beckett that a skilled sniper must sacrifice their humanity in order to kill without hesitation. The next day, Sajid sees terrorists in the mountains and assumes they are Chechens. They set out to free their captive. They immediately planted bombs in various locations and prepared for the skirmish. While Andre and the others defend the station, everyone takes their positions. Beckett and Sajid, on the other hand, set up behind the rocks for sniper assistance. The Chechens storm the station and begin shooting moments later. Andre and his team defend the station by killing anyone they come across and activating the. They set off explosives. He defends himself with his assault weapon, but they fire an RPG at the station. When the Chechens spot Beckett, they fire an RPG, which Sajid and Beckett manage to avoid. Beckett safely lands and searches for Andre. Simultaneously, Sajid betrays them and plots to murder Beckett in order to join them. They later bring Andre out and attempt to behead him. Fortunately, Beckett reacts just in time and shoots everyone, including Sajid, without hesitation. Andre is saved without hesitation. Following that, Andre commends Beckett for not being afraid to shoot Sajid, and Beckett's probation is over. Beckett is immediately tasked with meeting Mothershed in Georgia upon his return to the base. He retrieves Gazikov's brother-in-laws in order to meet Gazikov and learn more about him. Who is providing them with information? Mothershed follows him to Gazikov's location the next day as one of the drones helps them. The drone detects the enemies but is unable to identify them. Mothershed returns the remains after they meet with Gazikov's men. Beckett then inquires as to who provided them with the coordinates for the sniper team. He is not convinced, however, by the terrorists' claim that it was a God-given gift. Gazikov approaches them unexpectedly and insists that they do not lie. When the colonel notices the terrorists in distress, he intervenes and dispatches them. To save his men, he launched a missile. Beckett then encounters a terrorist in possession of a toughbook and a satellite uplink. The missile then bombs their location. Fortunately, Beckett and Mothershed are able to avoid it in time. Slater demands an explanation from the two when they return to the operation base. Gazikov was met. Beckett informs her that he observed the terrorist carrying a toughbook equipped with a satellite uplink. It is suspected that they used it to determine their coordinates. The colonel contacts Beckett via Slater's cell phone and directs Beckett to carry out his orders. New mission by rejoining his team and defending Killian. Cervantes greets Beckett the next day when he arrives at the pumping station in Georgia, and informs him that the others are on a mission in the highlands after discovering Gazikov's location in the area. They rush to their team as Beckett anticipates the operation's danger, knowing that their coordinates are made public. Miller, Barnes, and Ongst are somewhere in the Kutaisi region, providing long-distance support for ground troops. Drones fly overhead, keeping an eye on Miller and the other snipers. The terrorists shoot one of the foot soldiers to distract the snipers. The opposing sniper tries but fails to hit Ongst. Ongst promptly informs the White House of the terrorist's location. When she is shot in the shoulder, Barnes rushes to her aid and administers first aid. Beckett and Cervantes arrive just in time and tell Miller to take off their vests. It's GPS system. Meanwhile, the foot soldiers enter the White House, but the terrorists remain gone. Slater and Sergei arrive and inspect the situation. Beckett brings up the drone issue again, but Slater is skeptical. Miller and Sergei eventually consider his claim. Beckett and the others then resupply their ammunition at the operation base. Soon after, the colonel pays a visit to Miller's team, and Miller discloses the drone's GPS problem, and that Gazikov's home in Kutaisi was a setup. Miller agrees with Beckett's theory and supports him. The colonel then considers the situation and issues new instructions. The colonel reveals their next mission, to eliminate Gazikov and his forces. According to satellite images, Gazikov intends to attack the station the following day. Reinforcements will arrive by the evening to deal with the remaining terrorists in Gazikov's territory. Possession. Miller thinks it's a bad idea if terrorists can see the drones, but Slater disagrees. It is impossible, according to him. The colonel instructs them not to use their GPS devices while preparing for the attack. Miller and his group reach their destination. They return to the station right away. Meanwhile, Gazikov launches their attack on the station, with only a few soldiers to defend them. The station, who are helpless. The colonel and Slater request reinforcement from the base, but it will take some time. Miller and others arrive soon after to assist the soldiers. The opposing snipers are now aware of them and are on the lookout for them. Beckett shoots the terrorist who is holding the toughbook. The encounter concludes when he eventually spots Gazikov and eliminates him, causing the terrorists to flee. Beckett is reunited with Cervantes, Ernst, and Barnes at the end of the film. After that, the colonel informs them that he will continue to serve as their field operator. Meanwhile, Slater waits at the pier for Beckett to apologize for not believing his initial report claim on the drone issue. Beckett is reunited with Cervantes, Ernst, and Barnes at the end of the film. After that, the colonel informs them that he will continue to serve as their field operator.